Have you ever fallen victim to an internet scam? Well, I have, for about $5,000. In this episode of the I Can't See You podcast, I'll tell you about it. And no, I'm not getting into true crime. This actually happened to me.
From Studio B in Swarthmore, this is the I Can't See You podcast with David. It's like blind people for dummies.
Hello there, and welcome to episode 138 of the I Can't See You podcast. My name is David, at David Benj on all the socials. I really appreciate you joining me for today's episode, and I hope you're doing well and you're staying safe with the variant raging in the U.S. and around the world. I hope things are going well for you at this point. I had on tap a few things to talk about, but as the teaser and the title suggest, it is just one topic today. And I'm not sure that it was blindness related or just stupid related. And we'll get into it. And please, I want to preface the whole episode by saying, if you have more questions, please reach out to me, 646-926-6350, and leave a voicemail there. Again, you can let me know if you want to use it on an upcoming episode. I don't have to use it. If you have questions about what happened to me, and I'll get into it in a little bit, please call that number, ask the questions, and I will get back to you, and we can talk about it. Or you can reach out via email, ican'tseeyou@gmail.com. Remember, I Can't See You sounds like a whole sentence, but it's only 7 letters long. ICANTCU podcast@gmail.com. As the title of this episode says, I don't know if I was, or blind people in general were targeted, because it was clearly done to more than just me. And I'll get into the whole thing in a second. Or if it was just a scam to scam people from an organization. So let me start from the beginning. A couple days ago, and I'm recording this on Thursday, the day it's actually dropping, I got an email that I thought was from Lynn Heitz. Lynn is the president of the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania. And it said something like, can you do something to help the board out today? Let me know. And I got back to her, and at that time, I was on doggy duty. I was, in the living room with Ziggy, either playing with him or doing something. And so I responded on my phone, something easy like that. And I basically said, I'll have some time, later this afternoon. And when I get on the computer, I can, what do you need me to do? And quote unquote, she said that something like the treasurer was out, or they needed to send a payment. I said, okay, well, let me, once I have time, I'll do it. So they said, okay, this person who I thought was Lynn. And later that day, I said, all right, give me the details. And basically, she sent me, again, she is in air quotes, because I'm not sure if it was a she or a he, or even if they identify as a she or a he, but whatever. We're going to say it's she because I assumed it was Lynn. She sent me a QR code to send a payment to a vendor it was supposed to be for $4,790, but they wanted the payments broken down, one amount one day, one amount the next day, and then the following day, finish it off. And so, I did it. I went into my email address, I pulled up Venmo on my phone, and I scanned it, and I sent the $2,000, the original $2,000. And, I felt good. I was helping the board out, and, I thought, wow, this is great. I'm helping out, Brian must be on vacation. He's the treasurer, never calling to verify any of it. But again, everything sounded legitimate with the email. They knew that there was a board, and they knew that, I assumed when I got the email, I was asked because I was the treasurer of Keystone. And, in fact, in my initial response, after they told me what they needed, after she told me what she needed, I said, well, Keystone doesn't have that kind of money, but, I can possibly do it, personally. And again, like I said, I felt good. I was helping out. I was doing something, just like I mentioned last week. I've been very driven to, do as much as I can. Well, as I continue to tell you the story, maybe I shouldn't try as hard. And as I said, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, one of my faults has been in my entire life is when something needs to happen. And I brought up the analogy of POGs. And again, I don't remember if that was last week or the week before. I react quickly when someone asks me to do something, or I see something trending. I want to get in on it. I don't want to run it up a ladder. And again, this is a little bit different, but when I had any business, if I saw something was happening and we should get involved, I did it right away. You have to make that decision when you're in business because, sometimes POGs, for example, it doesn't last long. Beanie Babies, for example, doesn't last long. So it's almost like musical chairs. You want to get in, sell the stuff, and have as little left at the end as possible because you don't want to get stuck with it. You don't want it sitting on the shelf and collecting dust. And that's what happens with those trends. But you can capitalize on it if you get in at the right time and not over order. So when someone asks me to do something and help them out, I want to do it. And I want to do it right away because, time is usually of the essence. And again, it is a fault of mine. I may have also mentioned in the past, and I'm not sure if I have or not, a few years ago, back in April of 2017, I went to see a concert in a small place. It's a small band called 888. And, I don't know. I think the capacity of the place is, 400 people, maybe less. Maybe it's 200. I don't know. It's not a lot. And with these small shows, the bands come out after and you can go up and talk to them, take pictures with them, and so forth. And I was so excited to get to do that. And again, I'm talking 4 years ago. I'm in my 50s. These guys may be 30. And, we had gone back and forth on Twitter a little bit. So when I was in line and I'm talking with them, I didn't want to, block anybody else from, having some time with them. I didn't know how long they were going to stay or wanted to stay. And so, I talked with them for a couple minutes. We took a picture and, I moved on and I said, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. And, we stepped aside because again, I didn't want to, somebody might, I assumed somebody was waiting behind me. And afterwards I asked Liz and there was only one person waiting behind me. So I wasn't really, I wasn't really keeping anybody from anything to the point where after they met with that person, we were still standing off to the side. Stills, who is the lead singer of the band, came back over to me and said, I really appreciate, you tweeting about us and so forth and so on. I said, oh yeah, no problem. I like the music and so forth and so on. And it was very cool. But again, because I want to, I don't want to have somebody else affected by me, staying and talking and, because I've been there, I've been on that end where you stay. So I want to get it done immediately. And again, a lot of times it's an asset, but in times like this, it's not. In times like what happened. So the next day comes, I sent the $2,000 the first time. The next day comes, they say, okay, wait until around the time that you sent it to make sure it goes through. Because I had tried to send it earlier and it was blocked. And that was a whole other issue, which, hindsight being is what it is, 2020, not the year, the visual acuity. That should have been a sign. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. It said there's a security issue. Now, it was a very vague message when the payment got declined. And I'm thinking, the money was in my my bank account. Why would there be a security issue? And I thought, well, maybe it's the bank. Again, because Venmo was slow to respond with information, whether it was them or it was my bank. So I contacted my bank. My bank said, no, we don't see any issues on our end. So I waited and I tried again and I tried again. And, I had then asked Lynn, again, air quotes, for other information. Can I, do it via PayPal? Can I do it some other way? And at some point, Liz said to me, well, why don't you just have Jane send it? I said, okay, we could do that. And I transferred the money into Jane's account, we have accounts at the same bank, she and I, and Liz and I and herself. And so it's very easy to make a transfer from our account to hers. So I transferred the money. It goes through. She makes the Venmo payment, sends me the stuff, sends me the receipt, so I can send, quote unquote, Lynn, that it went through. And so the next day comes, so that's $4,000. The next day comes and, we still have to pay $790. And I'm thinking, I wonder what the limits are with Venmo. I hope, I don't use Venmo that much. I use it to pay our lawn guy. I paid family style pet sitting when we went to New York. I paid Lisa via Venmo. When we needed the cleaners at the condo when we sold, paid her via Venmo, paid the guy who did our basement. In fact, that's the largest payment, I've ever done. That was in one single transaction. And that's what made me confused. When I paid the final payment for the basement, where Studio B is, it was around $4,500 that I sent via Venmo. And, and that was the only time that I had used Venmo for him, for Tom, the guy who finished the basement. So I was a little concerned, that it wasn't going to go through, but, I had his, he gave me his information and I had his phone number, so you can verify it with, the last four of the phone number. So, I was concerned, why am I having this issue with, the payments from my account, but Jane wasn't having them? So next day comes and we still owe the $790, still need to pay the $790. We don't owe it. So I try, doesn't go through. Jane was in the office that day, so couldn't really do it right away. And then she had an event afterwards. And, I get on the, first we try to set up an account for Liz, and we're going to do it that way, because it's going to go to the same bank account Liz and I have. But it doesn't work for whatever reason, because her account is too new, whatever. So we wait, and Jane gets done her event wherever she was in New York, and she calls me on the way home, after she gets off the subway, and she said, so it didn't go through, and I said, no. I said, can you do it? And she said, yes. So, we're talking, and she does it. It goes through. I send Lynn, the information to show that it went through, and she thanks me. And she sends me an email saying, we really appreciate this, so forth and so on, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, okay, great, it's done. I'll be reimbursed by the end of the week. I'm not, not too concerned. Well, I should have been concerned. So again, I'm on doggy duty today, not down in Studio B. Liz was upstairs, and, I was, sitting with the dog. We don't want to keep him, as I've mentioned in the past, we want to keep him in the cage as little as possible. That's not why we got him to, he's not a zoo animal. Even they don't put him in cages anymore. So I'm, sitting there with Ziggy, and I see an email come in, and it's from Lynn again. And it said, oh, one last thing. Can you do one more for me? And now I'm starting to wonder, what do you mean one more? Brian is, if he's going to be able to reimburse me by Friday, tomorrow's Friday. Why, you can wait one day. So I get concerned, and I first shoot off an email saying that Jane was in the office that day and, wouldn't be able to do it until the end of the day, meaning, Jane usually works until 6:30, 7 o'clock. And then I start thinking, this just seems weird. So I did what I should have done right at the beginning. I call Lynn. And I say, Lynn, I just want to make sure that we've been communicating, you and I, back and forth these last few days. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, you didn't ask me to do something for the board? She's like, oh, no. And then she goes into it and says that one other person also was contacted via email, and she doesn't know if there are more or not. So fortunately for the other guy, he was at the bank. He had called Lynn, and Lynn was in a meeting or something, so didn't get his call, and then called him back because he had left a message, called him back while he was at the bank to do it. So fortunate for him. And that's what would have happened had I called. I would have found out right away that it was a scam. And I would have $4,790 more than I do now. So the fact that I want to do something and I want to do it right away, it affects me. And I've tried over the years to just relax a little bit on that and take a breath and take a look. Would it have stopped me from this? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't have called Lynn right away, but, maybe I would have shot her a text or, later in the day saying, hey, I sent that $2,000. And of course she would have sent back, what do you mean? It is very embarrassing and you think that it can't happen to you, but clearly it can. And when I went back to look at the actual email account that it was sent from, it was not, as I had thought from a day or two earlier, it was not from the nfbp.org email address. It did say president at the beginning, and that's why I thought it was okay, because I did check it, I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, to make sure, but it didn't say president whatever at nfbp.org. It said president something something at Gmail. So as everything is anymore, a learning experience, you have to investigate it more. And I'm usually big on that. And again, I thought I was actually communicating with Lynn. There was nothing to make me doubt that. It didn't come through marked as spam. It mentioned the board. It knew my name. And again, my email address, my personal email address is just my name. Just my first name. At ican'tseeyou.com. So, it is embarrassing, like I said, but I didn't want to keep it, in the back in the day, you say, "Ooh, don't tell anybody that because it's embarrassing. It makes you look dumb." Well, it does make me look dumb, but I don't want it to happen to you. And if it stops it from happening to you, then at least I've done something right. Not $5,000, right? But sorry, $4,790. Let's not get carried away. So I guess now would be a good time to ask. When you go to shop at Amazon, and I please don't do anything other than, go through an affiliate link. I'm not asking for that because I never want to do that. That would just be wrong. That to me that's more embarrassing than losing the money in the first place. When you shop at Amazon, I'd appreciate it if you used my affiliate link. And you can get to that affiliate link by going to ican'tseeyou.com/Amazon. Once you get to Amazon, and I believe that takes you to Amazon's front page, the home page, go and shop and buy stuff as you normally do. And when you check out, I earn a little commission. It's usually anywhere from 3% to 10%. Down the lower in the single digits, from 3 to 5 is most of the things. If you're buying luxury beauty, and I'm not sure any of my listeners are buying luxury beauty, it's 10%. There's a couple other that are a little more than 5%. It doesn't cost you anything more. And obviously now that little bit would be very helpful to me. So again, ican'tseeyou.com/Amazon. It is an affiliate link. That means I earn a little commission. Remember, I Can't See You sounds like a whole sentence, but it's only 7 letters long. ican'tseeyou.com/Amazon. And I'm not sure you can hear it. I've been pacing back and forth for the majority of this episode. I'm still shaking from what went down, because I know I'm not going to see that money again. And it's a very bitter pill to swallow. But I don't want to hide from it. And I want you to know and to be wary when stuff like this happens. So that hey, you know what, this sounds a little weird. And it didn't sound weird to me. And that's the thing. It didn't sound, it sounded legitimate. I thought, okay, like I said, I thought Brian was on vacation and, I'm a treasurer, so that's why she contacted me. Obviously now, and when that email came in today asking for more, then I knew, I thought something was up. That raised a red flag to me. So, as the title suggests, I don't really think that it was someone preying on the blind. I think they found an organization that they could probably get something out of, whether it's the organization itself or its members. And I guess they were right, and I just hope that no one else, and who knows how many, to me it sounds like somebody's email address was either hacked or the affiliate, the NFBP of Pennsylvania's, server was hacked. One way or another, that's what it sounds like to me. Again, I don't know. But I just hope that hopefully I'm the only one. I usually am. Usually the next thing that comes up is, I've never seen anything like this before. Or this never happens. I've never seen this happen. But it has, and it, again, like I said, it stings. But I'll move on. The money that I've used was actually money that I had put aside from when my mom had died to, it was leftover money from expenses, for the estate. And I, Liz and I had talked about it. If there was any money left over from the estate, I was going to put that aside from the expenses of the estate. Obviously there was more than that, but I was going to put that aside and use it to try and build more affiliate websites and bump up the ones that I had. And so I started that. Obviously now I'll stop because this pretty much finished it off. So, it's a horrible feeling, and fortunately I didn't borrow the money or get the money some other way. Yes, it will hurt, and it'll stop, my affiliate sites from going the way I thought they were. There was one that I had just started that, now will, definitely take a while to get going. But it's not like it was going to go for, next week's food or something like that. It was business related. And, who knew it was actually educationally related? But I hope this helps you. And I hope that when something happens, you take a closer look, closer than I did. And again, I don't know that, vision or not, I don't know that, if it were another, non-blind organization that I might be affiliated with, if it had happened, I probably would have done the same thing. I don't think, again, I don't think it was, hey, they were picking on us because we're blind. I don't think that's the case. So call the title of this episode, call it clickbait, maybe. But it got you to listen. And now you know the story. I hope you're doing well. I know things are getting crazy again with Delta, and I hope are you still supposed to wash your hands 8 million times? I don't even know anymore. I just know that I haven't gone out much, and I haven't done much in the last few weeks. Just trying to stay safe, and just because I have no place to go. I will have some place to go, though, by the end of this month or the beginning of next. As I mentioned, going to do our blind fantasy football league draft either in New York or LA. It's all going to be recorded for YouTube, and there's a partnership with the NFL and all sorts of cool stuff. So hopefully things are not crazy wherever we pick to go. And I'm hoping we go to New York because I am a little leery about getting on a plane for 5 hours with everything going on. So I'll let you know. I'll let you know how that goes. But it sounds like fun that we'll do. And again, I hope you're being safe. You're staying well. You do whatever you feel is right to get through it, because who knows what's right anymore. And I really do appreciate you listening to episode 138 of the I Can't See You podcast. Again, if you're buying something from Amazon, I would appreciate if you use the affiliate link, ican'tseeyou.com/Amazon. That will earn us a little commission. Unless you buy something really big, then it'll be a little bit more than little. And again, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to the I Can't See You podcast with David. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen. And don't forget to share the podcast with your friends.